killed survivors on a suspect drug boat in the Caribbean on September 2nd. It was previously reported that the initial strike disabled the boat and caused some deaths. Sources say after an assessment, the military conducted the second strike that killed remaining crew on board and sunk the vessel. Trump has announced kinetic strike on September 2nd against narco-terrorists. He said we're with the group known as Tren de Aragua. One source claims U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth ordered the strike to kill everyone on, but it is unclear if he knew there were survivors prior to the second. The Trump administration has never publicly acknowledged killing any survivors.
Being able to build an app or name on just by thinking about base.
Now did a strike on a Venezuelan marine boats. Before this news, prior, they was talking about shutting down this underground tunnel that leads from the Americas to Canada. I think 50 feet underground, something like that. I'm not sure how many feet underground and exactly how far through the United States this tunnel goes. But it's becoming a big issue where the Mexican cartel is basically fighting back. They're going to the civil courts about this action where the United States is talking about cementing up that tunnel, basically covering it up, filling it up with cement, and it's going to cost so much amount of money. They want the cartels to give up the money so they can basically shut down their tunnel, the tunnel that they use to break out El Chapo. If you guys know anything about that, it's a tunnel he used to get from Chicago to wherever he went to, right? Nevertheless, this just happened a few hours ago. They're tracking down their ships. Basically, they on the takeover, right? America, we just had celebrated Thanksgiving, and the next day after, which was yesterday, Black Friday sales didn't go as planned. To me, America is broke, and it's starting to show. But nevertheless, we're starting problems around the world. Yeah, that was yesterday. And today they starting with this mess. Let's check it out and see what's all going on. But all I do know is that the end of this year, be prepared for the worst of the worst to come. Be prepared for another shutdown, maybe not. Be prepared for the news to be going chaotic with wars breaking out. This is all a part of the master plan for the distraction and the chaos to keep people in the uproar while they behind the scenes move massive amounts of wealth, the wealth transfer, and also to keep people being able to work for the system for free, meaning to lock you up, take your possessions, all of these type of things. This is the time now to be vigilant, to be mindful, to be aware, and take notes of the enemy's tactics and tools that he's using to keep us confined into this small little space of not being able to grow, not being able to evolve as people, as we supposed to do, right? But check this out, though. This just happened a few hours ago with our government, what they're doing behind our backs, why they're keeping us focused on food stamps, unemployment, Section 8, and all of these so-called resources that's supposed to be for the people. I mean, they use our money. We spend taxes, and our money goes into other people's pockets, and it never comes back to truly help us with those in need, the sick and shut in, the elderly, the disabled, the people that really need this type of help. Meanwhile, they doing this type of stuff with our money. They're putting troops in harm's way to get killed for selfish gain.
Critical condition. In the days following that attack, family and even strangers have come to them. And reporter Camille Ellis has more now.
Well, just learning more details about the two service members who were resought in Washington, D.C. this past week. Now, unfortunately, one of them, Sarah Beckstrom, she recently just passed away from her injuries. Meanwhile, Andrew Wolf is 24, and he now still remains in critical condition.
I'm not sure how old she is. Rest in peace to the families. This is no laughing matter. It's no small thing. These are young kids, young children, 24 years old. I was spending time in jail, getting out of jail, dealing with grief, right? On the downward spiral. And for someone who's on the total opposite end of the spectrum, trying to, or at least thinking that he's doing right, protecting his country, putting himself in service to sacrifice for whatever cause. I got a dear friend, Aaron. If you're watching this, what up, bro? Peace and blessings. I miss our conversations as well. And this is no shame or nothing like that, nothing to put anybody on blast. We talk, and I hate to say this. And he has good reasons on why he want to do what he's doing as far as going to the services and trying to better his life. And a lot of people, they go for this reason in particular. The reason for this video is awareness, to really think about, if this is what you really want to do as far as coming up in the world. We all struggle. We all have times of uncertainty. We all deal with it, right? We all deal with times of not knowing where our next meal going to come from, our next check, our next life support. I never really thought about going to the army, nothing like that. I always felt like we know how to fight wars, but we don't know how to make peace as a nation, as a country. And therefore, I don't want to be a part of the problem. If we can't talk things out as adults, as level-minded individuals, we really don't have any business dealing with each other. As far as the, I forget what it's called, I think NANO or something like that. But basically, where all of the countries, they come together and they discuss different things, right? How they have these peace wars, these peace treaties, I meant to say. They come together at some point, just like they came together to open the government back up. When it comes to these type of conversations, the public should be involved. We should know what type of danger our leaders are putting us in. We should be able to have say-so, just like we have say-so when we vote these people in. We should vote on these wars as well. We should vote on things like this that affect us as a whole. We have winter time coming. Of course, you're going to see a lot of commercials about NyQuil. We don't know who doctors or what scientists are playing in these laboratories, putting this type of stuff in these medicines, because they know it's going to be needed in this time of year, right? This is the type of stuff that I'm talking about. These are the type of things to be aware of. These are the type of things that bombard our minds, but nevertheless, we have power to overcome these challenges. We don't have to run to the doctors. We don't have to run to the churches. We don't have to run to the warlocks and all of this and that. We are equipped and more than conquerors through Christ who strengthens us. For those of you who spend time getting to know yourself, the hardest thing in this world to do is be alone. Spend a little time alone. That's where life really happens, when you get to really challenge your thoughts, challenge who you are as an individual, challenge the body that you're putting inside your spirit, this piece of flesh. What is it being led by? What are my influences, right? These are questions we should constantly ask ourselves. Like today, I picked up some water, right? And yeah, I get EBT, so I buy this. I don't even like coffee, but this was pretty good. But the reason why I grabbed this is because I can have a glass bottle and I reuse it as a cup, a glass cup. I like drinking out of glass. And I'm going to drink more water. I'm going to put down the cigarettes, and I'm going to put down the weed. And I'm going to stop drinking. And I'm going to go on a sobriety challenge all next year. And I'm just going to start over if I fail. So that's my thing for my new year, so that I can have better health, have more money in my bank account, and be sober-minded to see what it's like, what it feels like to really challenge myself, not to run to these supplements. But anyway, right? These are young people who are enticed by our leaders, who are thinking that our leaders is leading them in the right direction, and who's going to help them benefit and better their lives, right? Just like when people go to church for spirituality, they go to a pastor thinking this pastor is going to help them better their spirituality and have more power in the spirit to be equipped to deal with these spiritual battles, the spiritual warfare that we're in. To not think for yourself is to easily drift away and be led away to doing someone else's bid. These two people that lost their lives, that didn't have to be a situation that happened. All of this ISIS stuff that they're ramping up in the news don't have to be a situation. All of this unnecessary stuff that's going on is putting people's lives in danger. As we just see on the news, just this past week, 2 people have lost their lives in service. They went to work and never came back home. That is a real problem. That is crazy. And I'm pretty sure in their mind they was thinking, oh, the government shut down, food stamps being cut off. I got family to feed. I got people to take care of. I'm in a position to help. Let me help. Let me go and go to work. And all of a sudden I make it home from work. This is a real problem that maybe not be talked about. But this is a reality of not thinking for yourself, following up behind ungodly people, and being a part of this world. This world will lead you right to your demise, just like these two individuals, and rest in peace again. But let's continue on and carry on and see what happened and led to this catastrophe. Also, why America is steady striking out on people when we just celebrated being thankful for what we have. This spirit is totally opposite of being thankful, right? Nothing in our hearts, the spirit in our minds should have us thinking this way to go attack somebody who's doing whatever they're doing. These people out here selling drugs, doing drugs, whatever, right? That's not our business. And to kill two people who probably was just on their job, we don't hear about them because they're Venezuelan, but all people are all people. ISIS is not even a situation we should be dealing with, like I was saying. How can anyone come to any land on earth and be like, you're not supposed to be here, you're illegal? How can anybody say the trees that bear fruits are now for sale and we have to go to the market to get them, we can't grow our own? This isn't natural living. This isn't being in tune with the universe. This is how life was created for us to be, but yet and still we conform and confine ourselves into this way of living. This is not being truly free. This is not being able to think for ourselves. This is not how we were intended to live, but yet and still we are in this system and we are a part of it, and we're not challenging it. We're not questioning it enough, and we just simply go with the flow until we all in a position where we're conspiracy theorists thinking about the mark of the beast, the AI takeover, all of these things, AI Atlas. Who are these aliens or whatever Dior ships coming to watch us? Right? What's really going on in the world? What's happening? I just think the funny video. This Asian girl, she's really funny. I watched a few of her videos back to back, to be honest, on Facebook Reels. She was saying when anybody online be like, go back to your country, she's packing up all her little her cultural things in her case, and she ran off. And I was like, that's so funny. And it got me thinking about America, right? Only in America is where we so divided as a melting pot. South America, I'm pretty sure they don't have this problem, even though they're Americans as well. They don't go around like, oh, I'm Colombian, Brazilian, whatever it is. I've never been to South America, but basically it's Spanish America, right? And when they come over here, it's totally different. Or anybody come over here, it's totally different. We're not just Americans. You got to be African American. You got to be white, black, Asian descent, whatever, right? You're not just an American. You have to be classified as something. And that's where our division starts, and that's where it never stops. To be American is to be a blessing, but to be alive is also a blessing. To be put in the box, to not be human, is not what life is about. If I go to Africa right now, they'll be like, I'm not an African American, I'm just American. They won't look at me as an African. If I go to Asia, they're going to look at me as a Negro probably. They won't know if I'm African or American. Depending on when I start talking, they'll see how I look and whatever, right? If I go to Asia, I don't look at everybody as Asians. There are Philippines, there's Koreans, there's people from Bangladesh. I don't know what they call themselves, and Indians. They're all type of people, right? My thing is this. Here in America, the land of the free, the home of the brave, the place where we can always start wars, end wars, but never talk about peace, the one nation under God. What God do we really serve? When it's all of these demonic symbols back to back, constantly bombarding us. What God really is happy with the way that we're running this nation? I mean, it's just a question I ask myself time and time again. Like, what God do we really serve? One nation under God. And the more I look into who God is and what God is, there are plenty of gods. And it's like, the spirit has power. There is power in the spiritual world. They say God blesses, the devil blesses, and I believe that to be true. The reason why I say this is because we are co-creators with God. The same way the devil is. He was co-creating with God before they separated from each other's presence. And the devil still creates to this day. The same as us, we create our reality. Whether we intentionally or unintentionally do it, we're creating. That's all we do. That's all we are meant to do. That's what we're born to do, to create. Some people create things that's helpful for humanity, and others, some people create things that's detrimental. Power isn't the problem. It's who's in power and who's using this power. Right now, the problem is the person in power, which is our president, who seems to be very, very quiet at this time. And that's not what a real leader does. A real leader will be accountable and own up to these mistakes, especially the direction that you're leading the people in. For me to be looking online and see all of these breaking news about America just attacked this, America attacked that, that doesn't do well for me as an individual. I love people, all people. I don't care if you're black, white, orange, yellow, green. If you breathe in the same air as I breathe, if you have intelligence, I respect that. I'm curious to know more about that. And I don't look at people any different. I don't look at myself as a black man or a Negro or African American or anything. I look at myself as a man first, a godly man second, and then after that, whatever people want to look at me as, because I know I'm a different person to everybody. I'm not going to be the same person to everyone. Everyone's story about me is different, and that I understand. The thing about it is, who do I answer to? What personality, what characteristic traits do I call to, right? People could call me a liar, they could call me a thief, they could call me whatever. But it's what I answer to. It's what my heart is. And to be honest, I am all things. And it's a time for all things. But it's never a time to be unauthentic and to be a liar. That's something I had to work on from time to time again. I used to lie a lot. I still lie from time to time, but I'm getting better at it. Um, as far as stealing, really do it too much. It's a lot of things about me, my darker side, that I don't really like. I find myself around a lot of murderers, killers. That's a part of me, but it's not a part that is easily brought out. Looking at the people who had less patience than me, I could have been them, still could be them. But I thank God for His mercy and grace to allow me the strength to be a little more disciplined, to have a little more patience, and to exercise that every chance I get. I pray for patience because I know who I am. And God gave me every opportunity to exercise my patience. That's what makes me patient. That's what makes me a happy person, because I practice moments of sadness where I can be happy. I choose my experiences. Things break me down constantly, constantly trying to break me down, steal my joy. But those are fleeting moments that I just let pass by. Sometimes it's my sadness, sometimes it's not. I'm very empathic. I feel deeply, not just for myself, but for the environments that I'm in, even not in environments that I'm in, but people I connect to. I could feel them from across the seas or across the globe or across dimensions. Rest in peace to my aunt. I still feel her from time to time, and different people in my life. I don't worship the dead. I don't speak to the dead, but I do. Uh, I do honor them, in a special way. And by doing so, that's what I've done with my sister Angela, my late great sister Angela, Team Angie LLC. This is in honor of my late sister. The reason I advocate for mental health awareness, I lost my sister to suicide December 6th, almost 12 years ago. Still feels like yesterday. My first time ever seeing a dead body, my own sister. Um, it's tough. it's it's a way that I dealt with grief. I just blocked it out a lot. I stopped thinking about it. I try not to think about it. But life doesn't allow you to do so, especially when you see people with their siblings. It's a sad sight to see. You see movies, Little Annie and stuff like that. This stuff kind of breaks you down. Then when Christmas comes, I lost that Christmas spirit for a long time. You know, like whatever. I lost holiday spirits for a long time. I lost myself. And finding myself and rebuilding myself is what this journey has been about. Um, it's a way to do things, right? It's a way to grieve as well. I say all that to say this, that we have the power. We have the power to live. We have the power to create. We have the power to enjoy this life. We're not exempt from trials and tribulation. That's who we are, and that's what we'll be. A lot of people experience failure, and they let that determine their outcome. That stops their marathon. It stops their experiences from even trying again. It takes away something that you can't easily get back, which is your courage, which is your faith, right? And that's what I was about to lose when I lost my sister. I was in the midst of losing my faith in God. I didn't go anti-Christ. I mean, you can say that anything that's basically deterring you from Christ is antichrist. So whenever you're going against God, you're the antichrist. I could be antichrist, right? It doesn't. It's not no one thing or one specific person. It's anything that goes against Christ consciousness. Anything that stops you from evolving to your highest self, from your highest mindset, from your highest ability to create, that's the antichrist. A lot of people have never even opened their third eye. You know, they hear about the chakras and all of this stuff. This stuff is a part of who we are. Um, it's a thing called. It's basically called Christ. It's a crystal. It's a liquid inside of your body that happens every 28 days, every full moon, and it replenishes every time. So if you're really elevating and you're moving through Christ like and you know how to balance your chakras, everything is clear and open and flowing freely like a river, right? That 28th day, that chakra will open it up and then it releases a little liquid. It basically purifies your blood and regenerates your blood and rebuilds your DNA. And whenever you do this and you activate this one time in your life, you will know it for a fact. If you do it correctly, you will feel this cold, like it'd be like a cold drip down your spine, down your spinal cord, all down your back. Then it goes through your blood and it starts pumping differently. You start to feel yourself more energetic. This is when you truly open up your third chakra, Kundalini, and then also you become more and more aware, more and more in tune with the spiritual world and your spiritual gifts or whatever it is that you embody. Right. That's why Jesus taught about fasting, right? You can pray certain things. This is how you get equipped with spiritual powers as well. Like if you know, if you're clairvoyant, whatever it is that God do for you or do through you, whether you speak in tongues, you can prophesy, whatever gifts you have, right? Whether you're a teacher, you're a really good student, I don't know. But this is how you amplify your gifts through the spirit. You fast. What fasting does, just like what being thankful does, it's a way to communicate to the spirit world where God hears you. Just like how other occults or groups they do rituals. This is how they send messages to the spirit world, whatever spirit they're trying to contact. And you break through those barriers, you break through those veils. And once they get a scent of that, they come and they basically get activated. They're ready to start moving. Just like I was saying when I used to open up the church for my dad. I provoke the Holy Spirit. I bring the Holy Spirit in this room, and everybody will feel him. And he'll get through working on people, doing what he got to do until his job is done, and everybody is at peace, and we all at one. Um, while this is going on, I know how to um, allow the Spirit to do what it needs to do, right? By basically keep feeding it energy, by praising, singing songs, and worshiping. And this is what we do. This is what I learned from the Baptist church as far as how to contact the Holy Spirit and be filled with the Holy Spirit and allow the Holy Spirit to use us and move through us. Just like how some people are easily possessed with negative spirits and they don't know how. It's because of this, right? We're all open vessels. If you're not conscious about what you're doing and how you're doing it, you're basically a floater, a drifter. You're drifting by and allowing anything to grab you, anything to use you, anything to be added to or taken away. One thing that helps people stay in this position of drifting and being able to be used by demonic spirits and possessions is drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, pornography, all of these things that you give a lot of energy into, or that helps you procrastinate, that stops you from moving forward, right? These things drain you from being conscious. These things drain you from taking action. These things drain you from being aware of what's really going on. Just like I say, every Saturday, every Friday, those two demons that come out to create chaos. We'll get into it in just a bit, but you see what just happened yesterday, right? They was bombing people. Every Saturday, every Friday, these two demons that people allow themselves to be used by, they get out and they wreak havoc through the world. I'm about to show some proof for you guys so you can see these are entities, spirits that people call on. Let me see real quick. Then we're gonna finish this up real quick, and then I'm about to show y'all. Let me let her talk.
Looking like Riley Moore has been in contact with and recently gave us an update on his mission. Take a listen.
Andy is hanging on, and he's a fighter. And his family has told me that time and time again, he is a fighter. But above all, what they want is for everybody to continue to pray.
Now, we know Andrew from West Virginia and has been with West Virginia National Guard since 2019. As for her, she was just 20 years old when passed away. She's also from West Virginia and joined the military back in 2023. Now, recently, we had a chance to speak to her ex-boyfriend, who shared her feeling before she was deployed to DC, and told us that even though she wasn't exactly able to be in DC at first, things changed when she
Amy was friends with his parents. She worked as a job.
She cried before she left. She did no. And figured out this, and I kind of encouraged. I was like, it could be a great opportunity around here. Who didn't want to be there. Down in her mind, she didn't want to be there. And when she was there, I realized it wasn't too bad. And she was having fun.
Now, as for shooter, we learned he used to work CIA in Afghanistan before coming to the U.S. and under the Biden Air program. He was
Gonna go, trying to make her family happy, trying to help provide, right? And fuck around and that happened. Look what type of demons that be around, though. Let me just show you a list of them that comes out. These are evil spirits and monsters. The list of demons from A to Z. Abaddon, from a place of destruction to demonic being. Look at this. It's a tower, right? Doesn't this look like a one of them cups they be drinking out of? You got Eligos, 15 spirit, great duke who appears as a king, a knight carrying a lance and a serpent. They all got their own jobs too. Like, we finna get into what some of these demons do specifically. Not every demon has. People get this fucked up too, right? You got a lust demon, you got all type of ones, and this is the type of ones you'll know that be into people. So some of these are very, very common, right? And some of them you might seen, like if you ever had sleep paralysis, they'll come to you. This one right here is tormenting spirit or nemesis. Appears as a handsome man with 3 heads. Who appears as a man riding a crocodile. It's crazy, right? These are the ones with the A. A bull, I believe his name is. Let me go to him for a minute. He the one that's the alcoholic. See all these signs and symbols? They be having this stuff on liquor bottles, on cigarette packs. And you just allowing these spirits to come on right on in, right? Look at him looking like Santa Claus a little bit. He's the corruption of the biblical name Baal or Peor, the god of the Moabites. Belial is a Hebrew or for without value. He is known as Belair in Greek, without value. Look at this one. spirit of desert, possibly derives from Egyptian for water buffalo. This is like basically gluttony, you know what I'm saying? This is what Thanksgiving is about, this guy. These are all type of them, you know. We could keep going, but I'm not finna get too far into this. I really was looking for two specific ones. I don't really care about this stuff, but I just wanted to put a little bit out there so you guys know, like, when you hear these names, these people ain't telling no folk tales. These are real entities that people call upon and that they actually use to help them do what they do. Just like magicians, right? They'll call on one of these things, and this thing will be like, all right, I got you. But when you got me is after you pass, and we're gonna reverse the script, and they're like, all right, cool. I don't care about what I gotta do when I'm dead. That's that. But in reality, you live way longer when you're dead than now, because eternity is way longer than a blink of an eye. The 100 little years that we may or may not live here on Earth, they got patience. They've been doing this for eons, meaning hundreds and hundreds of years and thousands of thousands. These things are patient, and they're always waiting and willing to jump into somebody to do their bid. They can't do anything without your willingness. That's why words are so important. When you out here agreeing to any and every little thing, you got to be mindful of what you're really agreeing to. Let your no be no, yes. Look, he look like a bear. Ruling spirit higher than the Tornix name. A shaman's familiar. Shaman. And he deal with oils and stuff. I didn't even know demons deal with this type of stuff. He probably be catching fires and stuff like that. Ukabak. Ukabak is a demon of an inferior order who maintains the oil in the inferior boilers. Yuval, once the order of powers. Yuval is a powerful duke who speaks Egyptian and knows of the past, present, and future. So they probably be calling this person for answers and stuff like that at the Bohemian Grove situation where they be doing those rituals and stuff. And look at this heart. Appears in the form of a lion. They have a lot of lions. And this appears in the shape of a lion with the ass head, which is kind of weird and crazy. Some of these look like emojis too. Y'all ever seen the emoji demons? Let me show you that. This stuff will blow your mind, dog. Let me go back real quick. Hold on. Hold on. They might show. Oh, they're small. I put in the wrong thing anyway, but I think this the list. I forget what they had it. Like some of this stuff they're not gonna show, of course, because you got to do your own research, and just googling up stuff ain't gonna always get you no answers. And even you got to re-reference Google stuff too, because a lot of this stuff is deceptive. They'll throw it out there just to spin you for a loop, and you got to cross-reference stuff. Just like in your Bible, when you read your Bible, they have verses at the bottom that you could go reference to, in different books as well. So a lot of this stuff, it sounds good, it makes sense, but you know, it's just hearsay and facts. These are the emojis right here. Wait, no, they not. I don't know. A lot of this stuff in like the books and stuff like that. Of course, you can see a lot on YouTube and TikTok. AI or one of these occult members who want to release a little bit of information, and that's just what it is. They're not a part of this occult anymore, and they want to expose them because they're not tapped into the benefits that was once given to them. That's why you hear a lot of people nowadays, ex-occult members, basically all different type of cults, right? They are breaking free from this stuff because of the agreements they made. They vowed to secrecy. A lot of these people in Hollywood, you hear them talk about God, but they're not talking about the same God that we talk about. I hear a lot about Mike Epps, and he was talking about his journey. Somebody just tried to check me about that too. Let me see what the name was. He get mad, but I don't care. Like, I'm gonna say what I gotta say. You can be mad if you want to, but at the end of the day, you can continuously be lost if you want. Once you know the truth, you can't unsee it. So some dude, he what his name at? Got on here talking stupid to me, but y'all don't go back and forth with niggas because I don't give a fuck. You say what you want to say, believe what you want to believe, right? But at the end of the day, you still ain't gonna do shit. You ain't on shit, and I ain't worried about you at all. Some dude named Flirtless3, he get to talking crazy to me, talking about you're slow. The only one that sold his soul is you, talking about me. Because I was saying that a lot of these Hollywood entertainers have sold their souls. I love Mike Epps, but that don't exempt him from doing this secret stuff. I don't know for sure if he did or didn't, but my thing is, you are what you eat, just like you are who you hang around. I'm not finna be around no pedophiles or no freak body type of guys if that's not who I desire to be like or what I agree with, right? And if I do find out, then that situation is dead. I can no longer be yoked with you. We're not equally yoked. So that's my thing, right? And also, if I am around these people, you'll be seeing me speak to these people as far as correction. I'll be preaching to these people because I want them to be saved. I want them to be free. I won't be playing both sides of the fence like all of these entertainers do. They sit here and they talk about God. They never really say Jesus. I heard that they really can't, but whatever, right? I don't know. I don't care about all that stuff because at the end of the day, like I was just saying, anything that stops you from elevating to your highest potential, that's the Antichrist. Anything stops you from being able to think for yourself, that's the Antichrist. All of these things are nice. And I heard another guy was talking about God bless, what do you say? Oh yeah, when God says yes, it's a gift and a curse because um when the devil say yes, it's cool right away, but it falls apart at the end. And God will continuously tell you no, but when He do tell you yes, you'll be in a position to maintain and sustain your blessings, whatever you ask for, and therefore your one yes would be final, and it not be you have to ask for it again because you have been positioned to maintain, and it's not something that will be easily took away. Now that was a nice analogy, and I believe he was true. I believe that to be true, except for one part. The devil, I mean not the devil, but God doesn't. His no isn't a blessing and a curse. It's just a blessing. If he tell you no, it's not a curse because he's saving you from something that you want that you don't know that's going to be dangerous to you or hazardous to your health. A lot of us take ourselves out because of our discipline, our lack of discipline for our desires, right? We go chasing after desires and overindulging, and now we fuck around, got a problem. It's lack of discipline, right? Um, but nevertheless, I hear him talking about God, and they say little stuff like I read between the lines. This I want to tell dude, like just because you're an airhead and you don't pick up on signs, subtle clues, or what people really saying, that's you missing out, right? But that's not me. And just because I hear and I see things differently and more intense, besides the what they're not saying, I hear what they not saying, I hear what they are saying, and I make it make sense to myself. And I'm just saying, I'm talking about these gods that they doing their sacrifices to, and all of the people that they kick it with, all these people that's in the same little, that rub shoulders with each other, right? They be in the same rooms, whether they like each other or not. They all a part of this little club. And then they'll throw other people in. I heard him say this out of his own mouth as well. He was like, talking about the strip club, right? And this kind of makes sense. I don't be at the strip club like that. Like, I mean, whatever, right? It's nice and all, but I ain't finna be going there to give out my money. Like, fuck that. It just don't make sense to me. Like, whatever, right? Anyway, he was saying, Mike Epps, he was like, at the strip club, They got they what they call them, informants or industry plants. Basically a plant. They have a nigga that work at the club. He'll come by, a couple of guys, throw some money, entice you to start throwing some money. Now y'all competing with each other type shit. Who throw the most, whatever, whatever. Then when it's all done, they have one of the chicks come clean the money up, take it to the back, and a different nigga that work with them will come do it again if ain't nobody spending money or throwing money. It basically and entice you to do it. And the nigga that work there, he not a nigga that's out here trying to, you know, tip these chicks. He trying to entice you to tip them because they all working together. And then that's that. You in the club thinking you competing with a nigga like, oh, I'm spending whatever, right? It's that culture of that scenery. And then right after he got done talking about that, he also said out his own mouth, like, that's just like Hollywood. They got plants. They be planting people in the way. And for him to say that is like, what do you mean they got plants? They got plans to uncover what you guys are really doing, or they got plans to make sure y'all don't expose these secrets. I looked at it as both ways. I looked at it like everybody in the industry is a plant and they all playing their role. They're all deceiving us. They're all trying to get us to be so wrapped up into being entertained that we forget to start thinking for ourselves, that we forget to start questioning things that they are doing and are saying, and we blindly follow them to damnation. They've made their agreements. They've made their contracts already. They've signed those contracts. They've made agreements on their destiny and where they are and where they're going to be headed, right? It's not a coincidence. These athletes, these entertainers, they go get these Baphomet tattoos and all this ancient Egyptian stuff. It's not culture at all. It's not a cool tattoo at all. These signs and symbols are to their deities that they worship, that they get this money and success from, and that they have to go and make these sacrifices to. That's why they're always so busy, right? And that's why they want to, for entertainment purposes, they clone themselves because they don't have enough time in the day to go do all of these jobs. And also, when you make a lot of money, it just ups your tax bracket to spend a lot of money, whether you want to or not. You make $1 million, you're going to start paying the thousands in the taxes. You're going to be spending way more than that, but just a scenario, right? Like things change. Now all of a sudden, that $100 bill, that ain't nothing. It's that $1,000 bill that ain't nothing. That 10,000 ain't nothing. And you steady, you know, you got to keep on chasing after more, which is a good thing. You know, as far as food stamps cutting off and Section 8 cutting off, people should be in the mindset to want to go for more, right? But to each his own. Anyway, nevertheless, one thing I ask myself about all of these entertainers, if they were smart, if they weren't industry plants, if they really had our best interests, right? If they really care about the fans, if they really care about everybody being on an equal playing field, if the playing field ever was equal, why not every month, every year you have new comedians coming out, new athletes coming up? You know, like this year they just had the track meet for the girls, the ladies. That was pretty dope. That was the first time I ever seen something like that. Stuff like that, right? You put the younger crowd in position so they can know, like, hey, this is possible and it's attainable, and you don't have to sell out your soul just to have a little something. But nevertheless, just like God will leave his 99 sheep to go for that 100 that left, the one out of the 100, right? The 99 behind, he cares about us all. And the devil is the same way. He needs people to help him fight this battle. So once you go accept his blessings, he needs you to go collect more souls. And that's exactly what he wants. And that's exactly what people do. I hate to put people on blast, but these modern day saints, they want to try to collect my soul. They don't stop. They keep coming, just like Jehovah Witnesses. These people, and I know a little bit about the stuff they do, but anyway, nevertheless, they don't stop. They do not stop. They need to collect souls because that's their bond. And if they don't do what they're supposed to do, their life is cut short. Just like the people in these cults that gets their kids in it, that gets their grandkids in it, that has to bring them into this type of situation because that's what they signed up for. And that's what they won't tell you until it's your turn to make that sacrifice and bring in more souls. Only way that I knew about this stuff because I sent the lady who was a sorority, and you'll think that these things are nice and cool and harmless and nothing to it, right? But at the end of the day, these things are a part of the cults. They all worship the same Greek gods. They all came from the same bracket, right? They all come from under the same umbrella, which is different gods other than Jesus Christ. These are different occults that people get wrapped up into because they're peers. It looks fun. Not anybody is telling you too much what's going on. They're always intoxicated. They're tired. They're exhausted. They're disoriented. They're not even really able to think for themselves and the stuff that they're getting into. When they do make these agreements, they're so effed up that they don't even realize what they're doing until it's all over with. And just like I said, they're having all their family and friends there to see them walk the stage or to do this or do that. They don't want to backtrack at this point because now they're people pleasing. They want to appease the people that come to see them sell their souls. And as sad as it is, it's going on time and time again. This year alone, so many young people in these sororities lost their lives to drinking and driving by the hundreds of thousands. By October, it was already 50, I think like 50,000 kids in just that month that died from car accidents or overdoses. These numbers are up there with unemployment. Nobody will talk about these things, but these are happening. And God is tired of warning his people, cleaning up house, getting people attention. Now that we have the internet, there is no excuse why people continuously go down this path. I see a lot of videos about, oh, witchcraft went wrong. No, it didn't go wrong. You were misinformed, you F around and you found out that this stuff is for real. And you did a little research, you didn't talk to somebody about what they could do for you, how they could help you achieve your spells or whatever, right? And the fuck around didn't work. They didn't have the true power that you thought. Now you're in a bind where you need somebody else help, another type of spiritual guidance or teacher, right? And the reason why this stuff is going on more and more so because God is tired of this. Is he's letting you guys know, like, you either gonna pay attention and finally wake up, or you're going to forever remain asleep and forever remain suffering and the damnation of hell that he has set for people that just don't want to get right. God didn't come here to talk about heaven. Jesus, I'm talking about, he came here and the majority of his message was about hell. Hell for the demons that he have made for the people that want to fuck up what God has going on. And he's dealing with it. He's swiftly dealing with it. He even went down there to take his keys back. Like, you had power, but not anymore. But it's a real place that wasn't meant for his children to go, but he will allow them to go if they truly decide to. You know, we all have our choices. And what I mean by keeping your faith is not by getting wrapped up in all this new age spirituality stuff. Now all of a sudden everybody think they know Jesus' name was Yeshua, wherever that came from, right? I don't care about all that. I don't get into all of that because to me it sounds stupid. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't know. But if to me, I question things like if there was no letter J when Jesus is around, how the fuck did they have Jews? How the fuck was he from Jerusalem? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, make it all make sense. But anyway, I'm not finna debate about any of that stuff. The truth of the matter is somebody like him has roamed this earth and he has opened his spirit up for us to receive, and he died on that cross. A horrendous death, a torturous death. The last 24 hours of his life, he's crying out to his maker, saying, forgive them for they know not what they do, because they don't. They don't care enough to realize what's going on. A lot of people are drifting in that sense. A lot of people are lost. A lot of people are being used by the enemy because they don't have the power to think for themselves, and they're so going into these desires that thinks it's going to help them be fulfilled and sustained in life. But really all it does is continues to keep you in procrastination. It keeps you down with strongholds so that you won't be able to fight these addictions, these thoughts, or whatever the case may be. That's what mental health is about for the people that had that battle, that constant battle of the mind. We all have it, right? But some people just not strong enough to fight. They don't have the conscious mind to know what's really even going on, and or to stop for a minute and think, like, are these my thoughts that I should be entertaining? Suicide comes up a lot, but that's not a thought of mine. That's the devil wanting me to end my journey because he know I'm so close to accomplishing, achieving my goals. thoughts of hitting licks and doing this and doing that. That's not of me. That's the enemy trying to get me off track and to distract me from instant success, instant gratification, instant fame, right? God is telling me just hold on a little longer. I got you. And that's what this is all about. I didn't think I'd be on here preaching about God. I didn't think that God would be able to do so much for me, especially after taking my sister. I actually had a problem with God. I didn't want to hear anything about him. And anybody who say anything about it, I gritched my teeth because the spirit in me was hardened my heart from God and taking my faith away, knowing that I am a child of God. I've been spiritual all my life. I've been baptized 3 times because I know the power of that water. The first time my dad took me to get baptized, and it was because he said he got demon childs. He used to grab the holy oil, come over here, get all y'all. And that's what it was. The second time I got baptized, I was semi on my way to my relationship with Christ, a personal relationship. And I was like, this is what I want to do. But as any other saint, any other sinner, we all fall. And yeah, I just battled certain sins or whatever. So the third time, I felt more convicted. I went on my own. But nevertheless, like I continuously backtrack, right? Struggling, I continuously fall, continuously get back up. But that last time I got baptized, it was like, um, I don't know, it was like something just was with me. I don't even remember like the steps or whatever. If I was, I think I got baptized after I got out of jail. Actually, yes, yes. Because the second time, this is when I started having like um, spiritual encounters with regular people, but I could feel their spirits. Like I met 3 people in jail. They had biblical names, and those impacts that I had with them in my life was tremendous. They helped me through hard times. That's why I really love the book of Psalms, chapter 28. But they were saying, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thy rod, thy staff, that comfort me, that prepare a place before me in the presence of my enemies, that anoint my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely should walk in the presence of the Lord. Something like that. I kind of messed it up and butchered it a little bit, but being in a um presence of your enemies in the shadow of death, you don't know what's going to go on in some of these places, and you really, really worry about it, and you really think like, man, am I going to be all right? Sometimes you'll be hungry. Sometimes you just be like, what's going to happen with me? But yeah, that's the power of God, though. And I used to just sit and read my book and read my Bible. They just saying earlier said though. Yeah, we just around 10, I think. Oh, thanks. Yeah, yeah, me too. We'll be straight though. We could just. Food extra Monday. I mean, I don't shit. Yeah, I use that shovel. That shit was pretty good. The metal one we got push it down. That shit right. And the road was a little bit. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I like that. You should be straight. You should be trying to help the next one. I think you have new stuff that you don't have to understand. Obviously, last section, we already have this one. Oh, you know, talking about this. Very good. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, guys. Miles understood on something. Yeah, I hate that. You really did, but it's probably maybe. No, I don't know what happened. I appreciate that. That's real. I don't know. I don't know that. Don't they will. That shit good. They told me that in blind space, you have to be clear. What she does is more she needs to have moving on. Would they? This way, y'all need somebody does that. You should go. Yeah, that's what it is, trying to really do it. But this definitely turn up the states that they trying to put these guards in. You see, they don't care about shooting them down. They're not gonna stop anything. It's just provoking the people to fight back, and that's exactly what happened in this situation. Haven't been trained. A secret that nobody probably knew how to deal with. That's a very, very, very dangerous situation. You don't know who an immigrant, but you out here harassing people. Don't have any public training to deal with the people. This is a dangerous situation to put these National Guards in. You're talking about coming to different cities and states to do what? So that's the new or National Guard. The updates. It's only going to get worse. You know, they already deployed guards in different states. Heard what happened in Chicago, New York. This guy, I really like his channel, but he kind of spent a lot of rhetoric about criminals and stuff like that. I get where he's coming from. He vent his frustration, but he seems like a racist to me. Everything he talks about always ends up on the black community, which is crazy. You know, they love to paint Americans, my color Americans, as the enemy, as we are the ones who causing all this chaotic energy in the states and corrupting these states. Whatever, right? We're not the threat. We're not the danger. To be honest, a lot of us just want to be living in peace. We want resources that everybody else has access to. That's it. That's all. Especially me as a business owner. Um, I don't get all of the grants that I'm applying for, that I'm actually qualified for. I don't go for many loans, but yet and still, these available resources aren't reaching my hands for some reason. You see how the government has billions and billions and millions of dollars to send overseas to do whatever they please. We work for our money, taking out a little bit at a time, whether we want them to or not. It's not on our control, but nevertheless, when we need some of that money back, it's hard to reach. It's hard to get in touch with anybody about it. But this rhetoric that's going on as far as America, the people here are starting to wake up. They're tired of the bull. They're tired of the false promises. They're tired of it all. They're starting to wake up and realize that we truly do have the power, and our power lies in us saying no, no to this war that they're trying to start, no to policing the public with the National Guards enforcing their presence as far as excuse me, I'm trying not to burp. Basically, it's a tactic, it's a bully tactic, just like the Black Panthers did back in the day when they walked around with their artillery, right? It's a symbol, it's a sign, it's a message to know that will be met with deadly force, right? And that's exactly what the National Guard is implying with their message by stepping into these streets and doing whatever they're doing with no training. Not to say that they don't have training, but as far as they don't have a solid mission on what they're about. The news slip up and said that. They actually just said that they don't have no real mission and they can't really say what they're out there doing because they don't know. That's exactly how these two people just one took their life, and I hope the other man pulls through. But this is exactly how these people get in these situations, not in their own doing, but because of a leader that's leading them into their death. Rest in peace to that young lady who was, I think they said she was like 25. She's a young woman, trying to level up in her career. She didn't want to go. She didn't want to be there, but she was deployed. And a lot of people who are out in these streets, as far as National Guard, not everyone there wants to be there. We heard the story from the lady's family. Unfortunately, she can't speak for herself because she's no longer here, but they said she did not want to go. And that's sad to know that somebody who have good intentions on providing for themselves, the reason why I believe that she even joined the guards, the National Guards, what you don't really think that this would be a profession where you will really be in harm's way. I mean, I went to Job Corps. They were sending people out to the National Guards. They were civilians, and they did a lot of disaster relief cleanup and stuff like that. That's what I always thought the National Guards was to help do: clean up disasters, aid and assist state catastrophes. Maybe a bridge broke down and they trying to help assist people getting over there, come with the vans, the helicopters, whatever, right? I was wrong. Now I see that they do with whatever that they're called to do. Is the call of duty. They're called to police the streets. The police, I guess they're unneeded. They don't have the funds to pay these police. I don't know what's going on. I don't. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having police and the police doing their jobs. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the National Guards and them doing their jobs. What I am saying is the media, the news, the direction that they're heading in is not the right direction. For us to be continuously engaging in war, continuously engaging in other people's business, it's not a good move. It's not a good look for us as a nation, as a country. Whether you are Black American, white American, Asian American, Mexican American, whatever, right? We all need to put all those titles down and just be people in this nation, people in this land that care about this land and that wants it to be here for our children and our children's children, that they can have a safe place to grow and have fun and leave a legacy for themselves, the legacy that we left behind as far as Martin Luther King bringing us together, Malcolm X speaking truth, and then we got younger people like I don't know. I really don't. People be silent so much. It's crazy. I don't really know who's been out here because they don't put these people on the spot like as they deserve and as they should be. So it's like we don't know if people are doing anything that's righteous, that's holy, that's legendary, right? Yeah, honestly, I can't even think of not one. And this saddens me because when I think about when God flooded the earth, only one person he found was Noah and Noah's family. Only one out of the world, one family who desires to follow the heart of Christ and to live like Christ. One thing I learned about that story, which is not my best favorite story, but one thing I did notice was that those Nephilims, those giants, they were smart, they were strong, which is nice to have strength, to have courage, confidence. They built their own boat, but something I didn't know. But they didn't put God in their business. Therefore, their boat didn't float. It floated, but it didn't last. It broke from those strong winds. And one thing Moses said, let me pull up that verse real quick because this is powerful. This is what Moses said. He was basically, if you don't put God in your business, if you don't build with God, you're not building right. For 40 days, the flood kept coming on the earth, and the waters was increased. They lifted the ark high above the earth. The waters rose and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. They rose greatly on the earth. Uh, Hold on real quick. This ain't the. I'm trying to find that specific verse. It's a lot to read through. Hold on, I'm finna go and get right to it. So Moses, the book of Moses. So it's basically all in Genesis. Verse 7, chapter 8. Okay, so let me see if I can find this real quick. Basically, he was like, if you don't build with God, whatever you build ain't gonna last. I need to find this verse real quick because I love doing research. So it's basically about his journey. That's all I'm really finding. He's just basically talking about before the flood, Moses. He was sent to. I'm getting confused for some reason now. I'm thinking about Moses, right? But I meant to say Noah. Yeah, for some reason pulling up Moses, but I meant to say Noah. So that's what confused me. I confused myself looking up Moses and I Noah. Yeah, I felt like something wasn't right. It's because I was looking at the wrong person. I'm like, Moses didn't make the boat. Okay, so it was still in Genesis, though, nevertheless. According to the Bible, Genesis chapter 9, verse 1 through 29, after the flood, Noah and his family exited the ark and began to repopulate the earth. Um, how is it that Noah, a righteous man, ended up drunk and naked? It may be that after the judgment of the flood, which purged the world of a wicked generation, Noah became comfortable in the new world. We're gonna do a deep dive on Noah because I got him confused with Moses. Noah, I don't even remember what I said about Noah before I started talking about Moses, which was on accident. But Noah, once the flood was basically at a standstill, and he was like, man, I'm glad I built this boat with God because they built the boat too. And I think how they got wiped out. They didn't build with God in their plans. They built with what's that? They had a lot of confidence, but it was arrogant, right? It was selfishness. They was like, we strong, we can do whatever, right? They was arrogant. And a lot of people like that. You know, we try to do a lot of things without God. And we realize that without him in our plans, things just don't work out. And that's basically what I was getting at with this whole thing about we feel like we're smart. We are smart. We know how to do things, but man don't do things correctly without God. The first time that we did anything without God, we messed the world up. It says in the Bible, like man's heart, man's thought, it's just evil, and that's exactly what we choose to do. That's why Jesus had to come down, because once God made us, He realized, like, damn, they just full of evilness, full of wickedness, and just that's just what it is. And it got even worse when the angels was like, oh, okay, since they already halfway like us, let's go corrupt them more. And then they start revealing certain things in the spiritual realm and the physical realm. They're like, look, ladies, this is how you use makeup, entice these guys. Guys, this is how you use these plants, make drugs. Scientists, this is how you navigate the stars and pull out astrology. You know what I'm saying? All this stuff came from the fallen angels. None of this stuff came from us. Even numbers wasn't invented. Um, they were found. A lot of this knowledge that we so-called know, the average man can't prove most of the things that he speak of, because no one really knows anything, right? And then the only way that you do know is by asking Christ, by aligning your mind with Christ to see if this is something that's true or not, or is it a smoke and mirror? Just like temptations, right? You're tempted to do certain things because of that smoke and mirror. This thing seems to be nice, and it seems to be enticing, it seems to be something desirable until it's obtained, and now you realize it isn't exactly what I thought. It is nothing good for me. Um, this what it is to be arrogant without Christ. We quickly mess things up for ourselves, and then we realize that um, God is the master builder. Jesus was the carpenter. Why not pull a carpenter on your side who know how to craft certain things, right? It's kind of subliminal to think about, but it's crazy when you really, really think about it. Like, this is a master builder, and we create with a master builder. So why not be able to have him in our plans for the blueprint to create a life that we truly desire that's going to last? God created the devil. They created the world together. They was creating with each other, right? Just like the devil create the stuff that he got, it's all temporary, because he has temporary dominion over this realm that we're in. This is his world. He's the son of the morning. He's the shining star. Contrary to what popular belief, you'll think that the devil is dark, he's ugly, or whatever, all of this stuff, right? But really, he's the guy people will run to. He's the popular guy. He's the one with all of this stuff, right? He's the man of music. Music comes from his being. This guy is influential. When he got kicked out of heaven, people went with him willingly. He didn't ask nobody to come. He didn't force anything. They went with him. A third of the angels. So that just goes to show, this man has something going on, and his influence. It's easy to tap into the minds of people, right? It's easy for him to get people on his side. It's easy for him to influence people, because that's who he is. Just like if you read in the Bible, you hear about get wisdom, get knowledge. It's always talking about a female. Well, guess what? Wisdom is Sophia in the flesh. Wisdom is an actual person. And wisdom was the person that was married to Adonis, which is the original Adam. And they be right with God creating until one day Sophia, or Sophie, whatever her name is, right? She decided to create her own. This is why some men nowadays want to be women and women want to be men, and why they have these transgenders and all of this sex confusion, right? Because just like the yin and yang are connected, that's exactly what we are, connected to the man and the spirit, the man and the woman. We were one being before we were separated by who so-called the devil, right? And when they say let's make God in our image, that's the devil talking about let's recreate Adonis in the image that we're gods are supposed to look like. So what happened was Sophia, when she made this creation without Adonis, they usually co-create together. That's why everything they created was beautiful and it was in light until she created her own, and she made who we now know as the devil, and she put him in a lower realm than the heavens that they were, because he wasn't light, he was dark. And when you don't create in union, you don't create the same thing, you create something total opposite. So she was ashamed of what she created, tried to hide him, and put him where he is now. And as a young baby God roaming around by himself, he thought he was the only one. So of course, just like we do and he do, he started creating imitation of above. Just like if you go have a baby with somebody, right? No matter if you like this person or not, your creation is to have a part of you in it. As far as much as the part of the co-creator, right? Both of you guys have a part of you in this new being. So when Sophie created on her own, a part of the light was in the devil as well. So he knew things of the light because it was in his DNA, but he wasn't of the light. So he created from what he saw, which was darkness. And then once Adonis found out, he came down because she came down too, and he basically tried to capture his soul, and he was like, "I'm a jealous God. There should be no gods before me." Woo woo woo. A lot of this stuff in the Bible really is the devil speaking, and the ones in the red, that's Jesus Christ speaking. So that's important to know as well, because a lot of people be like, "Oh, God is the devil and the devil is God," and they're true in a sense if you really know the backstory of Christ himself and where Christ actually come from. The Holy Trinity is this: the mind of God, and once God starts to think about things, that's knowledge. That's wisdom, right? That's your thoughts. And once you're aware of your thoughts and you act on those thoughts, that's the Holy Christ. That's the move, right? So it's basically like this: the Father, the Mother, the Son, which when history started, not history, but reality itself was just one guy thinking. And what would a guy do when he's by himself thinking a lot? He would think about himself. And that's what began to happen. And once he started thinking about himself and he realized that he's thinking and that he sees his thoughts, that's where the mother came in. The mother is the feelings of the thoughts, and the son is the activation of those feelings, the completion of reality, right? So when you have a thought, you think about what you're thinking about, and you feel how you feel about what you think about, and you act on that, that's considered the Holy Trinity. That's considered how you manifest into reality. And Jesus came to wake up people to let them know that this is the Christ consciousness and how you manifest and how you know, create physical matter, right? And the reason why they always demonize the woman in the Bible, because the woman, which is wisdom, she created on her own, and what she created was something basically is what we dealing with now. But what she did do was she whispered in her child's ear, because they kept on creating us out of clay, right? We're like the second maid, and they kept on recreating different models of us, right? And he was like, "Man, they're not living it, right? Like, what's going on?" And then Sophia whispered in his ear, she was like, "You got to breathe life into him, breathe into the nostrils." And that's how man was made. The second man was made, which is Adam and Eve, right? So that's how we were made, and that's how we end up having the spirit of God within us still here in this realm. And once they found out, damn, we made something better than us, and that if they find out, they'll mess around and recreate something better to be free. So they trapped us within, where we are now. And it's delusion the world that we in. If you ever seen what's the movie? Man, I can't think of it, but basically this is what's going on, right? They call people from the land, and then whoever they call, they gotta go. Hunger Games. Hunger Games. If you ever seen Hunger Games, it's exactly what it is, but in a physical, spiritual sense. We're the physical people that's in the game. The spiritual ones are the ones running the game. And they want to keep us bombarded with the things that's in the game, so we never truly conscious about what's really going on, or we're never questioning what's going on, because we're chasing desires constantly fulfilling our minds, our time, our energy, chasing after desires, until you finally stop and you be like, okay, and you start questioning things, you start realizing, and then you start receiving downloads from the higher, from Sophia, wisdom. That's why a woman's intuition is never off, because woman is wisdom, and that spirit that's within them is where they get it from. It's never off because that's what woman is. Woman is wisdom in the physical form. And woman can be God. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. If woman is a God. I mean, if you know the higher power is a woman. Because if you think about it, like the way that we are made, man is seen to be powerful, right? And we are, but we're nothing without women. And also the way that we come here is through women. We come through the womb. It's not by accident, it's by design. It's by the mother earth, the mother of the universe, putting her DNA within everything. Even if you look inside your own DNA, it says, let me pull it up. I think I showed y'all before, but in our DNA, embedded in our DNA is Yahweh. Yahweh. It says God in our DNA. Let me show you really quick. How did the scientists find that in our DNA says God? So this is it. It's 65565. And I'm gonna show you really quick. In our DNA, we have numbers. So whenever you hear the circuit board from zeros and ones, right? And I think I showed y'all a little bit. I can break it down to y'all, whatever, but yeah, we'll get into that in just a bit. As far as what I know about scientific and the DNA and stuff like that, I know a little bit about a lot, about a little bit. I'm very informative, you know. I'm not a scientist or anything, but I do see knowledge. My bad. I thought it was showing. All right, here we go. So it's the DNA code, ones and zeros. I'm gonna run it back just a bit. Some of this information I already know, but I don't know how to explain it like that.
And you are doing engineering. Scientists have found proof of God in the code of DNA. But what did they found in the DNA code that made them believe in the existence of God? Keep watching the video to get the answer. As you know that a computer program is a series of binary numbers, that is ones and zeros.
So one thing I do know about binary codes is this, right? When it comes to matter and it comes to protons and minerals and all of that stuff, right? So basically, this is how you get the 3D realm. So what is the 3D realm, right? This is space, time, and matter. So if you start the world over from scratch, what you will have is space, time, and matter, which is a box. And inside that box, how you figure out space, time, and matter is by ones and zeros. A zero is a binary code that basically, right, these tells you what it can do. And then, well, I'm gonna just let them play it out, but you're gonna get into it. You're gonna really have an understanding of what's going on inside your DNA and how numbers really are special to us and how they're speaking to us day in and day out. How everything is made of numbers.
Sequence of ones and zeros instructs the computer what to do. In the same way, all the functions that are taking place inside the cell of the body are controlled by an incredibly complex and extremely long code written in the DNA, which is placed inside the nucleus of all the cells of our body. But now the question arises, how this complex code of DNA convinced scientists of the presence of God? Let's try to understand it with the help of a simple example. Suppose you are walking on a beach and suddenly you see a message written on the beach sand. The message is, Michael is my best friend. Then what is the possibility that this message was just written by chance, by the random waves? You will say, no, it's not possible. How these waves of the ocean can write this message? This message is an information that must have come from the intelligence. So it is not possible for us to neglect an intelligent mind behind such a simple, meaningful message carrying information. So the point is, information comes from intelligence. According to Dr. Francis Collins, director of the Human Genome Project, one can think of DNA as an instructional script, a software program sitting in the nucleus of the cell. Now, if we see the complexity of the code written in the DNA, it will boggle your mind. The letters of the programming language written in the DNA are A, T, G, and C, just like the letters of computer programming language, ones and zeros. As what a computer will do is decided by the program placed inside its memory that may be hundreds to thousands of letters long. In the same way, whole functions of the body are decided by the DNA code having its copy placed inside each cell of the body. This DNA code is nearly 3 billion letters long, and its instructions are written by different sequences and arrangements of the 4 letters A, T, G, and C. A unique combination of these letters instructs the cell how to carry out extremely complex body functions. These 4 letters of DNA code A, T, G, C are actually names of 4 chemicals. These are adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine that respectively stand for A, T, G, and C letters. As 110010101101 is an example of a computer program instruction in the binary language with letters ones and zeros. Similarly, AG, AGT, GG, CT, CACT, CC, TGAA is an example of an instruction in the DNA code written by using 4 letters A, T, G, and C. Now remember the example of message written on the beach again. If such a simple message written on the beach cannot be written by chance or randomly by sea waves and needs an intelligent mind conveying a piece of information, how is it possible to neglect an infinitely intelligent superintelligence who has written that incredibly long, dense, and complex code of 3 billion letters inside the nucleus of each cell? Who placed that code there? Is it just by chance? Do you know how much complex the DNA code is? The DNA code contains all the information that makes up an organism, all the features that makes you, every quality and trait that you possess, every chemical reaction taking place inside your body, and lot more. This code is transferred to the next generations. That is the reason why a child has many characteristics similar to his or her parents. It's interesting to note that a child shares 99.5% of the DNA with his parents.
You heard that right, 99.5%. So when Sophia made her creation, that's how much DNA, how much knowledge he had of his mom, how much of her was in him, but in a different place.
Everything that is happening inside the cell is instructed by the DNA code written in the language of 4 letters A, T, G, and C. Not only this code has instructions also for auto-repairing itself. This 3 billion lettered code is copied to new cells before a cell dies, so the information is not lost after the death of the cell. These all unbelievably complex functions are performed by the DNA code at extremely high speed without you even noticing. This 3 billion letter code is so long that if a person types 1 word per second for 8 hours a day continuously, it would take him 50 years to type the human genome, that is the DNA code. And this code is not just about its length. The code has to instruct the cell to complete highly complex tasks. So it's obvious that job to write this program is beyond the limits of a human mind. No program has ever been written by chance. If you are a computer programmer, then you can understand how much intelligence, concentration, creativity, pain, and time it takes to write a simple code of just few hundred words. If we
Yeah, I understand that part, especially if you went to crypto. If you know anything about Ethereum, that is a cryptocurrency that you can use to create smart contracts, which are codes for a coin that has functions, similar to a computer programming code, which is a contract. Not considered a smart contract, but basically a contract, a code, right? And this video is a little more in depth, a little different, but yeah, you get the gist on how complicated, how complex we as human beings are. And therefore, why it's important to tap in with that master carpenter who can help us create things like this. Scientists, they call upon these different deities, these different spirits to help them create. And everything that they create is always an abomination to the Lord. These things that they create, like you see what they're doing with gene genetics, they're playing with people's DNA. One guy I hear about a lot back in 2019 from Asia, he was arrested for 3 years for doing exactly what I just mentioned. Now, all of a sudden, somebody, they called it the Manhattan Project. Basically, get ready for I Am Legend to be played out in real time. The Manhattan Project, I advise you to look it up. It's what's currently going on with this woman whose husband was the guy who successfully first in the world to mix genes and DNA, recreate some type of new human being is basically what it is about. That was her husband. She's running the Manhattan Project. All right, you want me to ride with you or you good? Oh, okay. All right.